Facebook, and that should be starting soon. We're going to talk about if you are how to know if you are wasting time in 15 minutes or less. So come on in. Let me know where you are coming in from. Let me know where you're at, where you are coming from. Hopefully I can see comments. I think I can. If you're on Facebook and you are joining me, just drop something in the comments because I want to see if I'm able to see the comments because sometimes I don't see them till after the words. Um, but I want to talk about how to know if you are wasting time in 15 minutes or less. So I want to tell y'all something that happened, but as I was experiencing it, I was realizing that there's other people who also don't realize that you're wasting time. And if you're like me, where you got grown folks business, right? You have things to do, you have places to go. So time is an important commodity. What we don't want to do is waste our time. But what we end up doing is that we waste it and then we really don't even realize that that's what we're doing. So that's why I want to just tell you some quick tips, and I want to share with you what happened. So um, I'm Sharice. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm a leadership consultant, and I like to work with strong, ambitious, go getter women. And I want to teach you how to save your time and energy. Why? So that you can spend more time doing the things that you want to do. Also, so that you won't feel depleted, you don't feel emotionally. When you want to engage in your relationship, when you want to just spend time with your kids, you're just not overwhelmed. Why? Because you have exerted time and energy in something or someone who really doesn't mean that much to you in the long run. Right? And that's just the reality of it. Not everything and everyone means something to us. So, in the world of business, right, you kind of hear automation, right? We have tech now and a lot of different tech types to all right, I was looking to see if somebody comment on Facebook. I want to make sure I can see it. And to make sure that things run smoothly, right? So we put in systems, we put in automation, we tweak tech systems to make sure things run quickly, right? Everybody with me? That happens. It happens on your job. If you run a business, whether you're part-time or full-time, there's some system that you put in place to save you time, to save you energy, and to make things more efficient. Okay, so let me show you what happened, tell you what happened to me recently. So, in my private practice side of my business, some of that is automated for new clients because I don't always have the time and availability to answer my phone if it rings, if someone's emailing me about, hey, and people usually just say something very simple, hey, I just want to set up counseling. Well, there's more questions I need to know if I'm a right fit. Why? Because I don't waste my time and energy. And if I'm not a right fit, I'd rather you know that sooner than later. So I have an automated system. People go to my link, they'll fill out my form, schedule a 15-minute consultation. I'll review the form, ask them a few questions, and we'll go from there. So, first time in 3 years is always a first. The first is always a great learning lesson, right? I was good though. I had my stuff in place and I was fine. First time in 3 years, someone went through my system, and at the end of the form, it says, why do you want to come to counseling? It says, what is it that you want to get from counseling? What do you want to get from it? And the person said, it's too much to write. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you on the phone or something like that. That was red flag number one, right? So, how do you know if someone is how to know if your time is not being wasted? One, if they don't want to follow some simple thing that you request. I'm going to take it to relationships really quickly, right? And I've talked to someone about this a while ago. If you ask someone that you're in a relationship for a simple request and they can't do it, you already have enough information. Now, simple is relative. You get to decide what your level of simple is. But if I say, if we're new or whatever, and I say, hey, just give me a call when you get home, let me know you got home safely, give me a text, and they don't, what happened? Oh, I fell asleep. More than that, it tells me it wasn't a priority for you. I can't count on you to do something simple as send a text message, right? So she chose not to fill out that part. She said it was too much. So my mind, it was already a red flag, but I wanted to know if I was right. I'll be honest with y'all. I wanted to test my skills. I wanted to test my skills. So I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and talk with her anyway. Scheduled the call. I got on the phone with her and I said, hey, typically with these calls, I'll go over the form, clarify a few things, answer any of your questions. We'll go from there. I said, but however, you didn't complete the form. You didn't complete it in its entirety. And she said, well, it's too much to write, and I just need to talk to someone. Red flag number 2. So this is your second opportunity to say what you need and you're still not saying it. Which means that I will be fighting an uphill battle to help her with whatever she wants to help with because she doesn't want to share. Now, keep in mind, this is a consultation, 15 minutes. I make that very clear. So we're not having a whole therapy session. I'm keeping it to 15 minutes. I just want to get the basics of what you need. But she's like, I don't want to give that to you. I'm fighting an uphill battle. So if you have 2 instances when you're asking someone for something simple and not giving it to you, you already know that you're going to waste your time and your energy with trying to fight for that, right? So instead of trying to solve that problem of tell me, you can scale back and say, you know what, maybe this just isn't for me. Sometimes we like to fight things that's really not for us. It's really not our thing. So in this example, her not wanting to tell me the second time, it's really not for me. I'm like, well, maybe I'm not the person for you. Why? Because I don't want to fight to help somebody. Here we go. I don't want to fight to be loved either, right? If I have to fight you to call me, if I have to fight you to do something simple for me or show me affection or whatever it is that I feel that I need, I don't want to climb that battle. I don't want to climb that hill as I climb that battle. I don't want to climb that hill, whether personally or professionally. I don't want to do it. Saving time and energy. So I want you to decide, what is it framework that you say, I want to stay in here because this helps me thrive the most. For me, I don't want to fight someone to help you because you're taking me outside of my bubble. It does not serve and benefit me for me to fight you to help you with what you want to help me with. So during this call, I told her, I said, well, I'm having a challenging time deciding what to do because I'm not sure really what's going on. I'm not even sure what to recommend for you because I still don't know what's going on. I'm not sure how to guide you, whether it's for me or maybe someone else. Because people call and I talk with them. And if I don't think I'm a good fit, I'm going to tell you this is what I think is best for you. And I'm going to tell you why I think this is best for you. And then you get to decide to do what you want to do from that point forward. But she didn't want to give me any information. And she was getting frustrated. She's like, I just need to see somebody. And I was like, well, you know. And so she did end up sharing something with me that was a little more personal. I got a little bit more clarity, but that little bit more clarity also opened more questions. And I said, well, I already was told 2 examples from her that she didn't want to share with me. So when she gave me a little bit more information, that had she put that on the form, I really could have just started there. But she didn't. So now we're winding down time, and I'm not going to use more of my time. I'm just not going to do it. So I said, okay, well, let me think about it, and I will follow up with you by the end of the day. That's exactly what I did. And I said, it's not a good fit for me because I already got a red flag, 1, when she didn't want to fill out my form. So for you, if you have a process, system, something emotionally going on with you, and you say, this is a battle I don't want to fight, choose not to fight it. Sometimes we want to fight and prove that we're not a certain way to make ourselves feel better. Just own that's just not me, right? I'm going to be really personal really quickly, right? I'm just going to be personal. Not for me, I'm just saying personally. If you have a history of abandonment, loss, where you don't trust people, and then you meet someone and they don't do the simplest things you ask them to do, hey, can you give me a call? Or they tell you, hey, I'm going to call you when I get off work at 5. Okay. Call me when you got work at 5, and you don't hear from them for 12 hours after 5 o'clock. You can't count on them, and you're not being petty. You say, listen, this isn't a person for me because I need people who are going to do what they say they're going to do. That wasn't for me, right? So then I gave her a second chance. She still didn't do it. Sometimes I need about 12 chances. I don't need that much. I want to teach you also not to need 12 chances for people to show up for you. You really don't need that much either. You don't. You don't. Two is enough. Trust that. And if you get it wrong, so what? You learn the next time. Right? So I went ahead and sent her an email and I said, hey, I don't think this is a good fit. This is what I'd recommend. Maybe find someone else that's a better fit for you. And in 3 years of private practice, guess what happened? She sent me an email, 2 emails, and 2 text messages to argue with me. In a sense, I felt she was trying to argue. She said, I don't understand this. She said, how can you tell in 15 minutes or less that I'm not a good fit for you? So I did respond back to that question. I said, well, the assessment takes place from the time that you fill out the form all the way through the 15-minute consultations. When do your assessments start? When you meet someone, when you start something new, when you choose to invest your time and energy, where does your investment start? When does it start? See, I had to decide when is my start. For me, mine start at hello. Assessment for me starts at hello. Why? Because I have understand what works for me, what's in my framework, and I need to see if someone's going to be able to support that. And also, do I have the capacity to support you? In this situation, I already knew I did not have the capacity to support her. Why? Because you can't do something simple as answer my form and my question. I know my capacity to support her already got limited just from that. I can't do that, right? So knowing what your capacity is. So when I responded back to her and I said, well, the assessment starts from the beginning of the form all the way to the end. Then I take that all into consideration and then make a recommendation for that. So from there, I'd recommend that these are some other resources for you. So she emailed me back and I loved her. Her next response was kind of funny to me. Maybe not to her, but it was kind of funny. She said, it seems like you get to pick and choose who you accept. Ma'am, you are doggone skippy. I get to pick and choose what I accept. I didn't respond to her after that because I wasn't going to argue with her about things. I wasn't going to argue about her about any of that stuff. But yes, I get to pick and choose. Now, on this situation, we're talking about business and clients and do I want to accept them? But I wonder, and if I think deeper, really, honey, I decided a long time ago, years ago, that I get to pick and choose what my happiness is. I get to pick and choose what space I want to be in. I get to pick and choose that maybe I chose wrong and I get to gracefully bow out. And this moment, in this form, in this situation, this is a low risk for me. I definitely get to pick and choose. I get to pick and choose in a lot of stuff in my life, right? I ain't gonna go too much deep into that, but even parenting. Yes, I need to be there for my kids and all that stuff. I get to pick and choose how much mess I'm going to go back and forth with my kids about. Some things I'm like, I'm not going back and forth with you about things that I don't need to go back and forth with you about. I'm just not doing it. You get to pick and choose. But before you pick and choose, know why you are picking and choosing. Know what your systems, your framework, everything looks like. You have to know what your emotional time and energy looks like. If not, you could be wasting your time. Here's the consequence that could have happened if I would have given into that, right? For a moment, when she did tell me a little bit more information about what she's looking for a moment, I did have that push and pull of wanting to help. I did have that push and pull of wanting to be that service provider and wanting to support. And I did have that for a split second. And then I snapped myself out of it, right? Because when I think about it, I'm like, well, what is it that I'm actually helping? I'm doing it to soothe me in the moment. But what is my long-term thing that I'm giving? I'm like, this is going to be a lot. I had already known this is going to be a lot. And I said, if I feel like I want to help and serve, I'm going to find some other area to do that that's a little bit more beneficial, a return on my time and investment versus me going up this uphill battle that started from hello. When it starts from hello, you get to gracefully bow out. I get it. Maybe there's some guilt. I get it. What ifs? Maybe I was too harsh. I get all of that. So, coming up next Saturday, January 28th, I'm holding a virtual workshop. It's called Leaders Building Emotions, right? That's not to say leaders don't have emotions, but sometimes we get so professional and we get so, we forget what's coming up for us when we're doing these things, when we're making decisions. How you show up in your professional life is how you show up in your personal life. It does not change. It does. Hey Nicole, thank you. It does not change at all. So next Saturday, January 28th, it should be in both the Facebook link here, comments, also on Instagram. It's a pinned comment here. Go ahead and register. I don't know on Instagram when I save it, it's right in my bio. The link goes straight to the workshop. January 28th, 10 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go over 5 ways to to make sure that you are monitoring your time and your energy. 5 ways we're gonna go over that. It's 10 to 1. It's gonna be an interactive workshop. Okay. I'm not gonna list 5 for you. You're gonna do some stuff in there, right? We want to make sure that we got some things in there for you so that you're clear on what to do, why you're doing it, then also feel good about doing it. Meaning that we're not going to leave you with guilt. That's not the goal. We're not going to leave you questioning yourself. Should I do this? Should I do that? No, that's not what this is about. We're going to make sure it's interactive and that you are doing some things for you. You have the ability, of course, to ask questions, engage. That's what that workshop is for. So click the link. Hope to see you on next Saturday, January 28th, 10 to 1, right in the comfort of your home, whatever's good for you. Just make sure you're in a space where you are giving yourself some time and attention, okay? If you got something to do and you have to drive and go somewhere, cool, but make sure you're spending some of that time where you're like, I am fully engaged, right? To get 100% out of it, I want you to put 100% into it. I want you to be there, be present. So hope to see you there. Click the link. Any questions, go ahead and hit me up in the DMs. And if you missed some of this, just hit the replay, watch it back, and just know how to save your time and energy in less than 15 minutes. But we're going to dive deeper on the 28th. So I hope to see y'all in the place. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I'll see y'all next week. All right, have a good day.